This is the highway, bro.
Bon chance, everybody. Welcome back to the highway with Kyle Shutt. I hope you're ready to do it low and slow today because we got Mr. Jimmy Bauer from Eyehategod and Down and all sorts of other rad-ass bands on today. We're going to talk about all the good times we had on tour with Metallica. We're going to talk about New Orleans, one of my favorite cities. I hope you like this one because I had such a good time talking to Jimmy. If you like hearing me make a damn fool out of myself on the internet for everybody to hear, go ahead and ring that little bell, hit that subscribe button, follow this show. You do whatever you got to do to make sure you don't miss a single episode. And if you want to go one step further, you can help us out at patreon.com/thehighway. For a few bucks a month, you can get early access to next week's episode. You can help me put a 6-pack of beer in my fridge like Mr. Matt Mosley did. Thank you so much. Get your own shout out too. You do whatever you got to do to help me keep these lights on. You can do nothing. I can totally do podcasts in the dark. We also have to thank our lovely sponsors, Heil Sound, because if you like the way I sound, it's because there's a Heil in front of me, baby. It's time to turn up the Bauer power, people. Let's do things my way.
The Highway.
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Kyle?
I've been fine, man. I was thinking about the last time I saw you because we had, when you were playing with Down and when the Sword had gotten the offer to do Metallica's World Magnetic Tour, that was 13 years ago.
Wow.
I know, man. Like, that just blows my mind to think about.
Yeah, that was some good times, man. Definitely some of the most memorable shows I've ever played in my life, you know? So
that's good to hear because that's the same for me, man. I still think that show that we played in Istanbul is the biggest show that we ever played. I mean, still to this day. I think it was like something like 70,000 people there or something. It was just nuts, man.
And if you remember during the day, they had that bombing, man.
Yeah, like that series of like mailbox bombs, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then later on at the show that night, whenever Metallica would play One, you know, and like all the bombs and guns would go off like before the song over the PA, the whole crowd hit the deck. I mean, like people thought like the shit was going down.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Laugh now, but like that's just crazy to live in a place like that to think about. But thanks so much for coming on the program. Yeah, it's a new little thing I started. Just calling up everybody that we used to tour with and having a good time just talking about the good old days since we're really, not doing that right now.
Yeah, this pandemic sucks, man. So, I've been working with a friend of mine doing ironwork and
nice.
I'm definitely ready to get back to my other profession without a doubt, So,
tell me about it. Yeah, are you still in New Orleans?
Yeah, I'm still in New Orleans.
How's the city holding up? Because New Orleans has it's used to getting beat down, on a yearly basis. It seems like with the hurricanes and stuff, and it always rises back up. But how's it holding up with this disaster?
It's doing good. I mean, I think just like anywhere else, everybody's pretty aggravated.
Yeah,
everybody's kind of ready to get back to regular life. I actually got the vaccine yesterday, so
nice.
Yeah. So for me To me, that's one step closer to, possibly being able to do some shows. And I just saw today, Crowbar is doing a show April 10th. So I think it's slowly but surely starting to come back, man. And I think, I was talking to somebody earlier about it. I think it's going to, probably be the biggest thing music's ever seen once it comes back. It's going to be huge. So
I know. I was going to say people are going to lose their goddamn minds, dude. Like when, like that, or they're just not going to know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, just going to stand there like, wait, what? I don't remember. Like,
I think you'll definitely have some people, too, that won't even go to shows,
It's going to take a while to bounce back because I don't want to harp on the pandemic or anything, but still, it's just like, I feel like we're past the total threat of the virus, and now it's just like public paranoia is going to be the biggest hurdle to get over and stuff like that. I mean, people are going to feel how they're going to feel, no matter what on either side of the spectrum and stuff. But for us all to come together, just people have never been more divided It feels like.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%, man. You know, it's kind of shitty. You know, it's weird.
I know.
Definitely weird, bro.
Yeah, tell me about it. I didn't think I'd see anything like it in my lifetime, but that's why I like talking about the good old days. But yeah, I mean, you've been playing music since I was in diapers, basically, man. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about it. You know, obviously, everyone, if you don't know Jimmy Bauer from Eyehategod, Superjoint, Down, fucking Crowbar, Clear. If there's a band from New Orleans, you've been in it pretty much.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of bands down here, but you know, I don't know any different. I mean, I just like playing music, you know. So
I wanted to ask you, especially because Eyehategod started about late 80s, like 88, 89, something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you start a band called Eyehategod, you know, and in a time when, you know, hair metal is huge and stuff like that. I mean, you're obviously not going for the radio and things like that. What was underground music like back then? And because New Orleans is a real like horn and drum town. It's really not necessarily known for, you know, guitar music necessarily. So y'all really brought that heavy metal guitar edge to the city. I felt like what was the scene like back in those days?
I mean, there was a bunch of different rock bands. That band called Zebra. They were from here, and they were doing really good. But, I mean, he had basically, you know, the pop metal scene, and thrash was real big when we started out. That's kind of the reason we started, is because we wanted to be slow, you know, with hardcore vocals. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was really shunned upon in the beginning. You know, people would be like, oh, you suck, and all this. So we loved it, you know. We grew to like being hated. And, but, you know, I mean, I think Eyehategod's definitely put its stamp in the New Orleans sound. You know, obviously there were a bunch of other bands too. That band Exhorter was real big when we started out. They were a thrash band too. And New Orleans is, like, to me, one of those towns that always has a shitload of cool bands. You know, mm-hmm. There's something down here. It just influences people the correct way. There's always really unique and different bands that come out, man. So it's good to have been a part of all that, you know, and be remembered for some things, you know.
Totally. Does it blow your mind, like, when you go to a place like you know, like Perth, or, you know, like just like to the far corners of the world, and just see like how far your music has reached people? You know what I mean, from where it started. It's
amazing, man. It's really, because, you know, I tell people all the time, this band, we never thought we were going to be anything. We thought we were just going to, you know, play some local shows and piss some people off. Next thing we knew, we were going to Germany and, you know, putting our second record out. And it's just been a fun ride after that, you know. It's kind of, well, let's see how far we can take this thing, you know. And I've been really privileged to have good opportunities and you know, and be too stupid to quit. So, and put those things together, man. It's just been a fun ride for sure, you know.
That's a big part of it, man. Just not saying no. You know what I mean? Just say yes to everything, take every opportunity, and like, you never know where you're going to end up. You know what I mean? Like when you just keep going. And yeah, like you said, too stupid to quit. I like that. 'Cause for me personally, I've been playing music, you know, in bands, trying to like get in vans and drive around since I was about 15, maybe 16, and I still feel that old. Like, I feel like traveling and playing music and just making that commitment, like, it kind of like, you just stop aging. I feel like, mentally at least, you know. You kind of feel like that, or has time kind of kept up with you?
I agree with you 100%, because yeah, you know, I mean, you know, living the way, like a vagabond, the way we do in vans and, you know, like nomadic or whatever, just, you know, you tend to physically age, but like you said, not mentally. You know, you it's not really much structure there to make you mature in that way. You know, so it's pretty. You know, I think it's definitely an advantage. You know, because you learn things that, you know, people that don't do it don't. You know, and
yeah,
experience really, really, really cool things. So.
And it's like there's so much downtime you know, between getting from show to show and everything, but and there is a lot that you have to kind of get through to get to that point where you do get to play, but it's the rewards are so much greater. I feel like when you just stick with playing music, even though they are maybe a little bit fewer and further between than doing anything else. I couldn't imagine if I would have just stayed working a job, not knocking it or anything like that. You know, I just being like, you know, I'm so glad that I took that plunge, and I wish that I was able to tell more people, you know, like that, just like chase your dreams, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's gonna suck maybe a little bit. You might be tired and cranky, and you're not gonna get rich, you know. But but at the end of your life, yeah, you're gonna have a story to tell.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, what do you have to do to be big or to be successful with music and all that? It's never quit. You know, that's the best advice I could give. You know, is just don't stop trying. You know, because once you do that, then you know, it's somebody else that is going to take your spot, you know, or whatever.
Lose that magic, yeah.
You know,
that's a good way to put it. It's tough these days too. Like I've asked some people that came on, like the motivation to pick up a guitar is totally different, you know, these days than it used to be. Like I just wonder, like what the motivations are in the 2020s, you know, to pick up the guitar and to chase that dream, you know, because the dream is so different than it used to be.
Yeah, there's definitely different variables, and you know, labels are different, and you know, with everything being digital, it's a completely different ball game, and you know, it's just I feel fortunate to have gotten into it when I did. I think it was a little easier than it is now, like you were saying, you know. Yeah, I can't imagine what bands have to go through now just to, you know, to get on tours and stuff, you know. I would assume it would be the same thing we did, but probably not, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's even though, yeah, like I feel like the Sword, like we were able to taste like the last little end of that, kind of like the whatever you want to call it, that major label MTV dream or whatever, you know, came along with that. But I find myself, you know, I'm not even 40. Yeah, but I don't even know how to navigate kind of the current climate and stuff. Like it's crazy just watching, especially in the last like 10 years. I feel like just watching everything turn upside down with streaming kind of taking the forefront and everything. But I've seen it work both ways. Like being a new band, it's really difficult to kind of make a splash in that world. But it seems like if you're one of the older bands that, you know, had records out in the 80s, 90s, things like that, and maybe it was difficult for you to get distribution or, you know, things like that, you know, in other countries. Now everybody in the whole world can just listen to your records whenever they want. You know, like we used to have to go crate digging in record stores to find, you know, bands like Big Star or Sparks or whatever. But now anybody can just get on their streaming service and just look it up like crazy. Do you think that cheapens the experience a little bit, or like, are you happy that just music is so accessible?
Cheapening it is a great way of putting it, because I mean, I think you're so saturated with it that you don't maybe not give the full focus and attention that we did, you know?
Right.
It's, I mean, there's so much music out there. It's so easily accessible that, you know, it's like, do kids even listen to whole records, you know? Or do they just listen to one or two songs and then move on? And, you know, I guess being a new band, that would make it that much more of an incentive to be that much of a better band, you know, to really know your stuff and you know, get really good at what you're doing and everything, and it paying off. But yeah, I mean, you know, I like the old record rack days too, where, you know, look at it now, you know, you didn't even know who the band was, but the album cover was so sick, you know, that you were like, dude, these dudes got a rule, you know. And I do kind of miss that, you know. It's like a lot's given away before you even know, you know. Mm-hmm. So
I came from a real small town when really we only had the radio, you know. Like I knew, you know, the boys are back in town, you know, and maybe they would play Jailbreak, but I didn't, you know, have any idea that Thin Lizzy had, you know, like a dozen or more albums, you know, until I was able to like really get to a bigger city and go to a record store and dig through crates like that and find all that old stuff, or you know, any underground music like that, like Melvins or things. Melvins was always one of those bands. I know you're a big Melvins fan, but
I feel like they were one of those bands that, like, how do you put it? Like there was grunge music, but then there was Melvins, and then there was like alternative music, and then there was Melvins, and then there was like heavy metal music, and then there was Melvins. You know, it was like they were this kind of like their own genre. You know what I mean?
And like the Melvins contributed a lot. I think the way they did business, the way they put records out, their nonchalant attitude towards being serious, but yet they were serious as fuck. Mm-hmm. You know, and just. They're just, I mean, what a privilege to be able to be into a band like the Melvins and have a band like that to, you know, push you forward and let you know, put that template out.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You know, and they're just one of those bands, man. It's like, you know, you don't get often.
Mm-hmm. And like back in the day, like with the, you know, like let's say you don't know somebody very well, but you find out that they like Melvins, then it's like almost like an in, you know, be like, okay, well they're cool, they like Melvins, all right. You know what I mean? They were
instantly best friends, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like a musical barometer for society at the time. Yeah, I miss, if I could go back and like hear one band for the first time over again, it might be them. You got a band like that?
It would be them, dude. That
really?
band
Yeah.
had the biggest impact on me, man. It's because I was being a musician. I was just like, what in the fuck are they doing, dude? You know, that it's just incredible how good they were. And they were that band that I heard in my head, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just, from then on, it was, you know, I heard Sabbath and was into that, but it seemed like the Melvins took the influence of Sabbath or whatever, obviously, and went a little further with it, and they so heavy, dude. You know,
mm-hmm.
It's like Bluey Force Treatments is my favorite record of all time, and that record it blows my mind, man, because you can tell that they were young and 80 they might. What they were doing exactly, but it's like, Jesus Christ, they encompass everything, you know?
Yeah. It's wild. Fucking love that band. Seeing them live, too, is crazy. It's nuts. Did you get to see him when Jeff Pincus was playing with him from Butthole Surfers?
Yeah, well, yeah, I've seen him with Pincus, yeah.
That was a great show. Like, that was I've seen him in maybe 5 or 6 different lineups, it seems like, over the years, but that one might have been my favorite. I just love a good power trio.
I saw him in 91. They played New Orleans, and they stayed at my house. The band I used to play, Trip. The band I used to play in, this band called Shell Shock, the singer had moved to California and was living with Dale in Frisco. So you know, they called me and they're like, yeah, man, we need to know how to get to your house. Me and little Joey, the old drummer for Eyehategod, were fucking flipping out, dude, rolling joints. And that's the first time I really learned about touring, because they showed up and we were like, yeah, we got a bunch of weed and everything. And they were like, is anywhere we can lay down? You know, they were just like totally not into like hanging out with us and all that. They just wanted a place to lay down and, you know, get ready to move on to the next town, you know, so.
Tour's rough. Yeah, it's rough getting to New Orleans. Like if you played Houston the night before or whatever, Birmingham. Yeah, it's like getting all the way down in there. Yeah, it's a schlep.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive, but you know, and the band I was playing in at the time called the Slugs, which turned out to be Crowbar, but we got to open up for them, and then we went and played Houston with them the next night, and that was for the Ozma tour, you know.
Damn.
It was like, dude, they were so good. This guy Tom played bass from the record company they were on, which I can't remember the record company they were on. But dude, it was just crazy, bro. It was just to see them after listening to them for 3-4 years, you know, and finally getting to see them was just like godsend, dude. You know, it was amazing, man.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
Just like I said, a very influential band, you know.
Absolutely, in many ways. Did you you didn't tour with them or ever anything, did you? You just played with them a couple times here and there?
Yeah, when they were doing the double drumming thing, they opened for Down for like a month, man. So
Jesus.
I'm real good friends with them. You know, I've kept in touch with them and stuff, but actually touring with them was just a great experience to be able to see them every night and watch them sound check, and like I'd sit around and hang out while they were setting up the drums and stuff, and I just got to become really close with them, man. And they're great people. They're weirdos. I love how weird they are. It's like because they're all in like Joy Division and like all these weird bands that people wouldn't think that they would be into, but they're the real deal. To me, the Melvins are definitely the real deal.
That's awesome, man. But kind of going back to like growing up for me, I think one of the first shows I got to go see when I was 14, I saw. It was Cold Chamber. It was their first tour, and then Machine Head, and then Pantera, and I think that would have been in '96. So that was a big deal for me, Then 10 years later, we get the offer from Metallica because we had sort of befriended Lars in San Francisco, and then he had just kept saying, "We're gonna bring you guys on tour," And when you hear a thing like that, you're just like, "Yeah, right." Humbly thank them and just never expect anything at all. But sure shit, they brought us out, and then we heard it was gonna be with Down. It blew my mind, man. And I remember that first show that we loaded into. It was Bergen, Norway, little seaside town in Norway, and just being there with all y'all, it was a surreal experience for me, because I was like, God damn, we got members of Eyehategod, Crowbar, COC, fucking Pantera, Metallica, and my ass just like dropped in here. I was like, what am I doing here?
Hetfield came in our dressing room wearing a Trouble Skull t-shirt, and I was just like, dude, that's so cool, man. Yeah, to be able to do that was an opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, that at the time it happened and everything, it was just great, dude. It was never have I been so focused on being a musician in that tour, because it was just you got to be on. You're in front of that many people every night. I mean, obviously,
crazy.
I had done festivals and shit, but you're opening for Metallica, for Christ's sake.
It was just one band. Like, like most festivals, you're lucky if you get 30, 40,000 people there. But then, like, with just, Metallica, they can just set up shop and goddamn, 60,000 people show up. It's fucking crazy. And at the time, too, Snake Sabo from Skid Row was y'all's manager. So that was a big deal for me, because they were Skid Row was actually the first tape I ever stole out of my dad's truck. To listen to on my own, so that was a trip. How did he ended up managing y'all?
He was real good friends with Rex. Skid Row had done shows with Pantera, or vice versa, back in the day, and I think Snake had stayed really good friends with him, and he was working for McGee Entertainment, so he was looking for a band to manage, and we just happened to be around. Snake's a great guy. He brought a lot of cool stuff to the table, and and he's come on tour with us and stuff, so it was really cool, man. He's a great dude.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since then, but he was just so positive. It was one of those things, like, just, I expected to, meet Metallica and y'all and everything, but then when he was in there, I was just like, oh, goddamn. Like, how many more people are going to show up? This is fucking ridiculous. But, God, we played a lot of shows together. I think it was The Sword and Down and Metallica for, like, 4 months. I think it was a long time. Yeah, you're right. Opportunity of a lifetime.
I think we only did like 20 shows, but
yeah, right. Well, because they play like every 3 days or whatever.
Yeah. That was a little hard to get used to, but it was cool, man. So
they used to, they would kind of let us play like our own shows in between here and there. But I mean, really, there wasn't a whole lot of time, because those shows were real far apart. People don't realize, like, just because you get on tour with a band like that, like that big, it's really hard to keep up with them, because they got planes and trucks and buses and stuff. But when you're just on a little tour bus, just trying to keep up with them like that, it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not for everybody. I've always said that. Touring is not for everybody. You have to, be willing to be weathered, I guess. It's a way to put it. Because you're going to go through a bunch of shit.
It's it can get crazy, because I mean, like, our load-ins were like 10 a.m., to these arenas and stuff like that. Then, you're done playing by 8 o'clock sometimes. And then you just, I don't know, I was 24, 25, dude. I would just party until noon, You know what I mean? Go to sleep, and then for 3 or 4 hours, wake up, do it all over again, and that can wear on you for a while, man. It's partying and rock and roll tours and stuff. It's kind of a young person's game. I don't know. Like, do y'all still get crazy on tour, or is it kind of mellowed out a little bit?
I mean, we used to, but I mean, I got kids now, man, and it's just need to take care of myself. I mean, might drink some beers, and I'll always smoke weed, but as far as like the opiates and coke and shit like that you find yourself doing, but you don't even really want to do, but you're doing it. Just that shit kind of went out the window years ago. So I mean, I'm 52 now, so can't really be doing that kind of stuff every night anyway. So
it's it's
even though it was fun.
I was gonna say, like, it had a great time, like, no regrets, but still, it's like you just can't keep that up forever.
Yeah, I mean, like something like weed, definitely influences your playing and and stuff like that. I mean, it's to me a safe thing to party on, and there's nothing wrong with having a couple beers.
No,
I never got to the point where I was an alcoholic with the alcohol, so it was more the opiates I had a problem with, so.
And you actually, I don't know if you remember, but you introduced me to one of my favorite drinks. I was walking by you in a hallway one time, and I said, you just had a little cup, and I said, "What are you drinking, Jimmy?" And you just said, "Red wine and vodka."
I introduced you to that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I gotta say, it was good. I poured myself one.
I don't know if that was me, man. That might have been in one of the others. I've never really drank red wine and vodka.
I don't know. It was just one of those nights backstage where there was just a huge table with all kinds of stuff on it. Maybe it was Hercules or somebody like that. I don't know. But
yeah, it might have been Kirk, man. That sounds pretty brutal, though.
Those nights all do kind of blur together. But actually, I was gonna ask you too. I don't know if you remember the first night that you met us, but I'm pretty sure you don't, because we were all pretty messed up. But it was at One-Eyed Jack's. The Sword was playing. I can't remember who we were playing with. I think we were just headlining, coming through town. But you came through, and you were already pretty lit up. This would have been maybe like, 15 years ago, maybe something like that. And Rio Hackford, the owner of One-Eyed Jack's, he was in there watching us too. And I remember you walked backstage, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's Jimmy!" And you walked up to Rio, and Rio goes, "Hey, Jimmy," and you just threw your drink in his face.
Oh my God! Yeah, no reason to party like that anymore, man.
Oh man, I just cracked me up. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, I thought Rio was gonna throw down, but he just wiped his face off and was just like, "Hey, Jimmy."
Again, I don't remember doing that. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I don't remember. Me and Rio were pretty cool, so I don't remember ever doing that. But
I know, man. It was a lighthearted gesture, but yeah, it was just one of those party nights, man. Shit got out of control. It was fun. Hey, how is One-Eyed Jack's, man? That was always my favorite club to play. Is it still is it hanging in there? Or is it gone?
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, once shows start opening up again, we'll see for sure. But yeah, that is a great place. It's like a small theater, So it's definitely a cool venue without a doubt,
One of my favorite places to play. It's just it's got that. It's like it is a theater, I guess, with like, the curtains that can be pulled and stuff like that, but it's still so small. You know what I mean? I only think it holds like maybe 400 people, something like that. We can have some great nights.
Think of back in the day in the 1800s and stuff. That club must have been crazy. It's like they probably did like weird theater shows and stuff like that. That's one cool thing about all those clubs in the quarter is the vibe of them. Just and the history, and the atmosphere that come along with them. Really cool.
I do love the quarter, but the rest of the city's beautiful too, man. I know the Garden District's kind of up and coming, and stuff like that. And there's a new club there called Gaza that we played from time to time. And I know like Siberia's around there, but yeah, I can't wait to get back there once all this kind of shit opens up. New Orleans has always just been one of my favorite cities.
Well, it's a great place to play. I mean, people. I think the scene here is great, and people really support touring bands, and and just the atmosphere of New Orleans. I guess it gets the whole party thing, but on the other side of it, there's serious music scene, and it's just cool to meet bands that are coming in town, and go out and see everybody. I really miss going to shows a lot. So.
That was where I would see all my friends. I mean, I don't really hang out with people all that often anyway, you know what I mean? But my personal life. But yeah, shows was always just where I got to see everybody and catch up and shit. It was almost, it's like the only place that I would go. It was a very spiritual experience in many ways. Got to refill my soul.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It needs to go away.
well, I know, back in the day, like Eyehategod and everybody used to, you would tour around with Crowbar and Pantera and stuff, and that whole scene. But were there any other bands that were like maybe the little lesser known that people don't remember, that were like kind of like a brother band or a sister band or whatever, that y'all would like tour together a lot, or that y'all were kind of like chums? And just because I know that sometimes once you never know who you're gonna make friends with when you go on tour, and you make friends in the most unlikely places. But were there any bands like that you just
we did a lot of touring with that band Buzz Oven. We did a lot of touring with them. We did our first tour with them, probably our first 3 or 4 tours with them.
Nice.
And then like bands like Anal Cunt and and Acid Bath was from New Orleans. We never really toured with them, but they were really kicking ass too, and trying to think, man. Like recently we toured with The Obsessed, which was really cool. The Cro-Mags. Getting a tour with all these bands that we look up to is just fucking mind-blowing, dude. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's just like great experience, man.
I wish more people got to experience it, because I think the world would be a better place, man. It just travel.
I agree.
Travel in general just like eliminates, a lot of bias and just kind of shitty attitudes and things like that. I wish more people had that in them, but I get that it's not for everybody. But yeah, man, I miss just flying to Europe every 2 weeks or some shit. Like just getting some weird offer, and you had, I used to call it the 24-hour game, whereas like if you play music long enough, like you never know where you're going to be in 24 hours, or like what you're going to be doing, or what kind of bullshit you're going to have to be dealing with, or who's going to be in jail, or anything. It really is like a crazy ass adventure.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool lifestyle, and fortunate to have been involved in it, and and still involved in it. And just like I said, I think you see things, and you learn things, and you experience things that not your average person's going to see, and formulates your character, and makes you the weirdo that you turn out to be, because you've done all this cool stuff, But you're right. If everybody could experience it, would be really cool,
Obviously, you're a guitar player and played drums for Crowbar and Down and stuff. What was your first instrument? Because I know New Orleans is such a kind of like drum and brass town. Did you start off playing drums and pick up the guitar later, or how'd that come about?
Yeah, I started off playing drums. I did the band and school thing, and then kind of put it away. And then when I was around 12 or 13, picked up the kit. And then when I was around 18, 19, I started playing guitar. So guitar was definitely later. And then obviously I learned how to play bass as well. And but yeah, definitely drums first, man.
That's rad. Yeah, I wish I could hang like that. I just can't. I don't know. I think because I'm such a lead guitar player that I'm constantly like dancing around the rhythm, or like playing like a little bit ahead. It's really tough for me to like lock into a groove like that sometimes and just keep it that way. I'm sure if I practiced I could get it, but I don't know, man. It's like drums is always one of those instruments where it's like there's nothing I love more than watching a really kick-ass drummer.
Yeah, I mean it's really physical. It's like that's the one part about it that I used to love a lot. I haven't been playing drums much lately, so we did that one live stream with Down. But I mean, if I could do it, anybody can do it. That's the way I look.
Speaking of Down, I've read rumors of the covers album that y'all are working on. Is that done, or are you still kind of like kicking around ideas?
No, we're still kicking around ideas. It's something we've been talking about for like 10 years now. So
Yeah.
just to kind of let everybody know what our main influences were and stuff, and it's just picking out the right songs to do, and you know, and it's just a matter of time, you know. But I think it's a cool idea, and
well, people will love it.
We'll get it done. Hopefully we'll get it done soon, you know. So
yeah, gonna be any curveballs on there? You don't have to name names, but
I'm not saying nothing. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some songs that people are going to be like, wow, man, you know. I think that's the point, you know. That's the point if you do a cover record, you know, try and make it as weird as you can, you know.
Absolutely, man. Because, I mean, you know, I mean, y'all's, you definitely have your own style, but I mean, like, it ebbs and flows in many different ways. I could see y'all, like, doing just about anything, really, if you know, put your mind to it.
Yeah, you know, I'd like, the more obscure the better, you know. And actually try and turn kids on to different bands, you know. That, to me, that's a good point behind it. You know, try and get them into something that out of their comfort zone that maybe they wouldn't listen to, you know, by hearing a cover of it, you know. I think Metallica did that pretty cool when I was younger, you know, with the garage days, you know. It was like, oh, wow, you know, got you listening to, like, the British invasion of metal and, you know, and stuff like that, and did a Misfits tune, and, you know, it's just kind of breaking it up and not making it like, what's that word, predictable, you know? Yeah.
There's still so many bands, like, from that era. I feel like, you know, that I really did my homework and dug through just about every record band there was, but there's still, every once in a while, just, like, will be a whole bunch of bands that'll pop up that I'd never heard of before, and then I'd just be like, how did I miss this? You know what I mean? Like, and so I guess that is one of those things we were talking about, like the streaming kind of making everything accessible now. It's it makes me wonder, you know, like what else is out there. So I keep digging. You know, it's hard for me to get into new music these days sometimes, or just hard. Not that I don't like it, but I just don't really have the time to invest in it anymore or anything like that. But yeah. Every once in a while, though, I find that new thing that just really just does it for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a big fan of like outlaw country and stuff like that, and I really like R&B, and you know, listening. I like hearing how things evolved. You know, how like you know, like your bigger band. You know, like what were the Rolling Stones into? What was Sabbath into? You know, and what was Skinner into? You know, and stuff like that, and I think you find yourself going down a rabbit hole where you hear a lot of different bands that you never thought you would, or you may have heard the name of the band, but you didn't. Really, that's what they're like, you know. So I miss that, man. I miss that a lot, you know. It's like that's definitely self-exploration, you know, that you're doing, and it's really a cool thing, man.
I do love about New Orleans, like just when you'd be walking down the street, and just all of a sudden, like, just some crazy brass band would be playing, and like that energy that they have and shit like that. You know what I mean? Where it's just like watching some guy play a trombone. I was like, man, he's playing the trombone like a guitar, man. That's nuts, you know? And then like you just sort of like kind of go down that rabbit hole of like all these different New Orleans jazz bands that just hit so hard, man. I really miss being able to just walk around the city and just see things like that, you know? Because Austin is such a guitar town. You know what I mean? You can't go anywhere without, you know, getting Stevie Ray Vaughan shoved down your throat. And yeah, it's great. I love the guitar, but I really like other kinds of music that just sort of get you out of that box, you know. And that's kind of what I've been gravitating more toward lately, is just like kind of more weird, like world stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely broadens you as a musician. It opens up your vocabulary as a player, you know. To step out of your comfort zone, and you know, and then you can adapt that to your heavy band, which makes it therefore that much more unique, you know.
Absolutely, man. I cannot wait to hit the road again. Oh my god. I'm just gonna...
Yeah, me too. I'm doing iron work right now. My friends, I love my friend to death for helping me out the way he has, you know. But you know, I definitely am ready to get in front of people again and start jamming and doing what we all do best, you know.
There ain't nothing like it.
There's nothing I
man.
can do.
Yeah, you got. I mean, are there any plans on the books that just kind of keep getting pushed back or anything like that, or are y'all just hunkering down, waiting for it all to blow over?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things going on this summer that might happen. So it's just kind of waiting around to see what the world's going to do, and then follow suit. So
yeah.
I think I kind of think we're going to Europe first. So that seems to be the consensus. Maybe in the fall.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking forward to all that.
Fingers crossed, man.
I'm like you, man. I'm ready to get back out there.
It's what we did.
Yep, and it's what we still do.
It's what we're the best at. You know what I mean? Oh man, you want nothing like it. Put a damn smile on my face the day I get to leave my house, man. Oh my God. Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me for a little bit. I know people are going to love hearing what you had to say. Whenever I have a musician guest, I usually ask if they want to play any music or anything like that. Do you got any favorite groups that you're in? You want to drop a song on? Honestly, I was always a huge fan of the Mystic Crew of Clearlight. I just thought that was such a rad band. I'm a huge fan of like keyboards in rock bands, which I don't think there's enough of these days. But yeah, anything you want, man. If you want to drop a song.
Yeah, man. This band called The Meters, Sissy Strut.
Oh, I'll play The Meters all day long, man.
That's a good band. And, hopefully somebody will listen to it and be like, "Damn, who's this band?"
Yeah, they're one of my favorites because they used to come to Austin all the time. There was kind of like a connection there because Cyril Neville, after Katrina, he would come through quite often. I think he moved to Austin for a little bit, and so he was always kind of like sitting in with whoever was playing downtown, and it was just a trip to see them. And Zigaboo is one of the best drummers around. So yeah, if anybody out there doesn't know who the Meters are, you're about to be in for a treat. Hopefully they don't sue me for playing the song on my.
Oh, they're not going to sue you. About that.
They'll never hear it.
Well, Kyle, thanks for thinking of me, brother. I love you, and I hope to see you soon. And yeah, man, just stay cool and keep practicing, bro, so you can get ready for when it happens,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love you too, Jimmy. Thanks so much, brother.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
Start. Mr. Art Devil.
Thanks so much for tuning into The Highway this week. A big shout out to Reverend Guitars, Railhammer Pickups, and Earthquaker Devices. If you liked what you heard, you can follow where you can follow, subscribe where you can subscribe, and if you want to go one step further, you can support us on Patreon at The Highway with Kyle Shutt. For a few bucks a month, you can help us keep this party going, get early access to next week's episode, and even get yourself a shout out.